Hello, everybody. This is Laura Alameri, and yes, I'm in my car, and it's kind of funny though because I always make fun of people that do their videos in the car. I'm actually at an event. I'm doing a presentation. We had a lunch here, great community. So I says I need to step out because I made a commitment on being on a Facebook Live here every week. This week, every day at 2:30. So today we are going to talk about how to make a win-win offer with the sellers, how to submit a contract that most likely is going to get accepted. Okay, because this is the thing, you work so hard in getting these contracts together, in getting the sellers on board, and now how you're going to get the seller to actually accept the contract. So I want to make some recommendation today through this presentation. And as always, if you do want to know more about our strategies and techniques, you can visit my website at www.lauraalameri.com. There is a link on this particular post. And I do also offer an ebook on the 7 easy steps to close a deal in less than a month, in 3 weeks, and make it at least $10,000. So make sure you check the great ebook out. Is a ton of good resources. Okay, but today we're going to talk about how to make a win-win offer. One of the things I always say, and I think we talked about this in the first day on Monday, to really, it's not about you always doing the deal. You want to be out there of service. It's going to be a refreshing change for you to be one of those investors that actually care more about the relationship, care more about actually helping, even if you probably don't get to do the deal yourself. Okay, so coming out of service, coming out with the genuine intentions, trust me, it will go a long way in this business. It's going to be such a refreshing change. So that's the first thing I recommend. Once you have that connection with the seller, you want to go ahead and the first thing I do is understand the motivation behind it. Why do they really want to sell? What is the reason they want to sell? And this is so important that you understand the motivation, because that will help you to determine what's the best case that you can present with the seller. So that's the other thing. Now, when you strike a conversation with the seller, sometime, especially in the beginning, you have to establish a connection. You have to listen to their story. Don't talk as much as listening, okay? Use silence to your advantage and listen more than you talk. And because there's going to be little things, even if they're not particularly related to that property, but they're going to give you so much information, you have to read between the lines to see what you can do to help them. And like I said, you want to make it a win-win situation. So at the end of the day, how you're going to present a contract and an offer that's going to give them what they want. And obviously, you need to make some money in the process. And there is nothing wrong to being transparent about that too, to say, look, I can help you. I can definitely help you with the situation, and I'm going to make sure I get you the most I can. But obviously, I have to make some money out of this deal for doing this. I have the resources, I have the contacts, but this is how I get paid. So being transparent and being open as a real estate investor, I think that's also such a refreshing change out there in this market, in this industry. And then, like I said, find out what the seller wants. What is his motivation behind it? The little things that they say between the lines during the conversation are so crucial for you to structure the right deal. And then the other thing that I say, I always come up with 2 possible scenarios that I can present to the seller. Because let's say the seller is really set on getting full asking price for the property, that's great. But maybe you can't make any money with that right now. Maybe they will be willing to do a rent-to-own situation. Maybe they will be willing to wait to get part of the proceeds. So there are so many ways you can structure this deal, and getting better at knowing how to structure the deals and knowing to give at least 2 or 3 possible scenarios to the seller, it will turn a lot of no's into yes. Because let's say the seller is stuck on selling the property for $200,000, and that's at or be above market value, and you know you're not going to make any money off of that because you can't wholesale it, you can't do anything with that. So maybe you can say to them, I can offer you $180,000 closing in 4 weeks, or I can give you 210, which is even more than what he wants, but you have to give me at least a year. And so how do you structure that? Well, if you can get 180 closing 4 weeks and he accepts that, you can always wholesale it or assign it, make a quick $10,000. You still want to sell it below what he wants, obviously, so you're probably going to get it for 180 and wholesale it for 190 or $10,000 assignment fee. Or you can do a rent-to-own lease option, okay, at 210, and then get your buyer or your end buyer to pay the $10,000 fee. And then you say to the seller, I'm going to keep part of that deposit of the 210. So, the thing is, the seller, if he had to pay commissions, if he had to pay closing costs, if he had to do any other expenses on this property, he would probably he's still better off taking your offer at 210 a year from now. So by offering 2 different options, now you open up for a conversation. Now you open up the seller to see that there could be a different way to go about it, and it's not going to be a flat no. And this works really well on properties that are the same as the seller wants the same as market. I like to deal a lot with people that want to rent their property. Or one of the best things is when I come across a property that he wants top of the market, and he say to me, well, I can just rent it anyway. I don't have to sell it right now. Perfect. That's when I approach him with a rent to own, which, by the way, what I just described to you is a wholesaling lease option, which is great in a market where the seller really doesn't want to come down on the price. And you say, you know what, we can do a lease option and I can wholesale it. You don't explain him that. You just know yourself that you're going to do a rent to own with him, and then you're going to wholesale that contract. So, but doing it this way, giving the seller a couple of possibilities, is going to turn, you see, a lot of no's into yes, into maybes, into obviously more deals for you. So things I want you to remember from this call is make it a win-win situation, understand the motivation behind it, give the seller a couple of options instead of just giving one where you can say yes or no answer, and you're going to see a lot more deals turning into possibilities. Now, for more tips and information, visit my website at lauraalameri.com. Like I said, you can also download the free ebook on the 7 steps to close the deals in 3 weeks or less and make at least $10,000. And tomorrow, I'm going to do the last live of this series, which is about setting up an action plan. So we're going to take a little bit of what we talked about all week, and I'm going to give you an action plan where you can close a deal in 3 weeks or less. So I'll see you tomorrow at 2:30 Eastern Time.